Alright, so in this week's video, I'm going to do a little bit of maintenance and do an oil change on our Champion 3100 watt power inverter generator. First off, I have to charge the battery a little bit because after a couple trips ago I forgot to turn the switch off here and it drained the battery. So I'm going to give the battery a full charge, get it all up and running, and get the oil warm. That way it will drain easier and we'll get all the oil out, that old oil, and we'll go over a few key points that we really like about this generator and tell you how well it's served us really over the last 3 years. Been very, very happy with this purchase. Alright, so let's get started. Okay, so since I'm waiting on the battery to charge, I thought I'd take a moment and go over everything that is on the front of this generator and some of the features it has. So this is the electric start and remote start version of this unit, and you do still have the ability to start it with a rope if you so choose, or if the battery is dead, like in my case. It starts really easy. You do have a fuel shutoff switch here, which is a good idea to go ahead and turn that off and run it out of fuel if you're not going to use it for a while. You have a little button here that you push in for a choke. It's an electric choke for starting it when it's cold. And you do have the off switch here, the on switch, and the start position, which you press that up when the battery is turned on and the battery is fully charged, and it'll crank and start it. You do have the economy switch here too, which will run it at a lower RPM and volume as well. Just keep in mind that if you're going to be running anything like your AC or probably your microwave off your RV, that it's going to draw a lot more current and it will rev back up. But it is nice to know that it is there, so when you're not pulling a lot of current from the system, that it will rev back down. And you've got an oil light here, warning light, you've got an overload light, and an output light. So if your output light is green, everything is good and you're getting power to your rig. If it overloads, it'll go red and you'll lose the power output and you'll have to shut the system down and restart it. It comes with a nice 30 amp RV plug already installed, so you don't have to use any sort of adapters for that. You got a couple regular 120 outlets you can run anything off of. Also, you've got the 12 volt DC style cigarette lighter style outlet, which also came with an adapter with USB outlets on it. You can charge your phones and delicate devices on this because it is a pure power output. And of course the battery on off switch is the culprit as to why I'm having to charge the battery at this moment. I forgot to turn it off a couple camping trips ago, and sitting in the garage for a month with the battery switch still engaged, it slowly drained the battery dead. So always remember after you're done using it to flip that switch to the off position. So I'm charging the battery now and it should be fine. It was starting to take a charge as we were using it last weekend anyway, but I'll get it charged up fully, start it up, warm up the oil so it all drains out nicely, and we'll get started on this oil change. Okay, so I'm going to take the back cover off here. It's just a couple Phillips head screwdrivers, or you can use a flat blade as well. And you just back them out, not all the way, but pretty much all the way, and the cover comes off right here. Alright, there it is. Alright, so this is the inside. And if you see down right, let me see if I can get the camera to focus on it right here. That is the oil drain plug right there, and there's a little flap here that you can pull back to let the oil drain out. And this is the oil fill. So I'm going to go ahead and drain the oil. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and get this drain plug loosened, so where I can just take it out with my fingers. And there is this little, like I said, flap in there that comes out, and I'll show you that in a second. But then I'm going to just basically drain it off the edge of the tailgate here. It's fairly easy to do it that way. Okay, so it's a 12 millimeter size. Alright, so I got it loose. Now I just got to get something to collect the oil. Alright. It's all drained. to put the rubber drain seal back in there. Okay. Let me just clean it real quick to get it started. There we go. Yeah, I got it. Now I'll tighten that back up, but I'll show you a little trick that I thought of. Seeing as how this does not hold a full quart of oil, this is what came out of it. So what I'm going to do with the same cup and the same size, I'm going to put the new oil into the cup to the same amount, and that way I pretty much know that I've filled it because it was full before. If I put the fresh oil in a empty cup to the same spot, it makes it a little easier to measure. So as you can see here, I've got the old oil and I've got the fresh oil, and the cups are filled to the same amount, so I shouldn't have to really worry about how much I'm putting in, although I will double check the dipstick when I'm done. But it should be the right amount. And boy, that oil was black. Probably should have changed it a little while ago. All right, filled it. I don't know if you can see that, but it's right at the full mark. And that worked perfectly. Now we just put this back in here and thumb it down. All right, and I'm ready to close it up. Okay. That's tight. Okay, that's all set. So we do like this. It's really convenient for boondocking. On a tank of gas, it'll run about 6, 7, 8 hours sometimes, depending on if it's in economy mode or if it's running full bore. And yeah, for like a weekend, we usually put about five gallons of gas in it here in the summertime in Florida, and it's not too bad. And so I'm going to go ahead and put the battery charger back on it, just let it tend it for a little while, and probably let it trickle charge overnight, and it should be good to go. So we hope you enjoyed this video and you found something useful out of it, and I'll leave a link in the description as we did buy this from Amazon. And if you follow our Amazon Associates link, you can check it out there, and they usually do have the best prices around. And they even have one that runs on dual fuel, which is pretty cool. A friend of ours wants to get that one, gasoline or propane. All right, so hit the subscribe, ring that bell, and make sure you follow us on our journeys.